Dmitry Bivol. Feline reflexes, perfect footwork, and brilliant combination. Dmitry Bivol is one of the few boxers today who has it all in one place. Ranked at 175 pounds, he is the only fighter who has been able to snap a 16-fight winning streak fights from Canelo Alvarez. With over 250 amateur fights and more than 10 consecutive title defenses, the Asian B-ball is on his way to becoming one of the best 175-pounders in history. So join us to meet the monster no one wants to face in boxing today. This is Boxing Saga. Since he was a little Kyrgyz boy, he was trying this beautiful art of boxing for the first time in the lands of the mountain bears. Tomak, Kyrgyzstan, the place where Dmitry Yuryevich Bivol would come into the world on December 18, 1990. Before moving to St. Petersburg, he grew up with a very marked Soviet style, where in his homeland he would begin his boxing career. Bivol would start practicing this sport in his own way, but always with that old Soviet style very present. To understand how and why Bivol has such a characteristic style, you have to go back 60 years in time, when the Soviet style was created in the 1960s. Every boxer was instructed that way, with jumps in and out, an elusive defense, and a very peculiar way of throwing jabs and crosses. However, footwork is a fundamental factor in this. This same style gave them 13 Olympic champions. The Soviet style remained very marked in the way of b-ball fights, and is one of the few that still practices it, like countries such as Ukraine and Kazakhstan, which also continue to practice Soviet style. With an impressive amateur record of 268 wins and 15 losses, he moved to St. Petersburg at the age of 11, which marked the beginning of his prominent professional career. After a successful amateur career, B-ball would debut at the age of 23 in an old-school Soviet style. Bivol didn't look like a rookie in his first fight. He looked experienced, and that was thanks to his amateur record. Bivol! The 18-6 record of his next opponent, Peternov, had nothing to teach Bivol. Solid punches resonated all over the arena. Dmitry, seeing that those punches hurt his opponent, decided to go all out for him. The Kyrgyz's punching took its effect, quickly bringing his opponent to the canvas with only 2 fights on his record. The towel had to save his opponent on this occasion. African Joey Vegas would be the next unlucky one to be hit by a hurricane-like storm, taking everything in its path. Vegas looked like all he wanted to do was go to Las Vegas. This young Russian was not up for games, and with only 3 fights under his belt, he looked like a beast that needed more opposition. He just wasn't up to taking on small opponents anymore. Once his Russian debut was a success, taking 3 knockouts, Dmitry went to the boxing mecca to try a new style and audience. He came to the United States to face a Mexican opponent named Felipe Romero. This boxer had faced Alexander Usyk in the past, but Bivol would give him a boxing masterclass. With that Soviet-style punch and go, Bivol didn't leave any gaps for his opponent to come in and counterattack. Bivol looked superior in every aspect. That footwork was abysmal and made his opponent only retreat further and further. The Russian wasn't going to stay with the desire to look for the knockout, knowing the power he had. The 7th round arrived and the fight was almost over. Bivol had to hurry to knock out his opponent. With a storm of punches, Bivol finished his 4th fight by knockout, making his U.S. debut a success and telling the world that a 175-pound monster was coming. The Russian beast was then returning to his home country for his 5th fight against Brazilian Jackson de los Santos. This Brazilian would test the punches of a supposed rookie with 5 fights under his belt.
Рано или поздно нащупает. Здорово правый, повтор правый. Ходится бразилец. Попытка ответить. Удар справа сильный.
The b-ball punching and volume made him extremely dangerous in a category where that factor is critical. The volume of b-ball strikes is one of his best weapons up his sleeve. And that Soviet style is still extremely effective to this day.
Очень жестко, очень плотно и быстро.
При этом он бьет в голову действительно под разными углами, но уже начинает довольно низко держал локти, закрывал.
The second knockdown was when his opponent realized that his fight was not going to go anywhere. Dmitry's strength was far superior. His intelligence in the ring was out of this world. And if this fight continued, he was only going to end up in the hospital. With this victory, he would make it 5-0 by knockout. A masked Dominican would arrive in the Russian country looking to prove that this Russian rookie named Dmitry Bivol was not the monster they said he was. Felix Valera, with 13 victories, a 100% knockout percentage and undefeated, would make his presence felt. But you wouldn't imagine the great humiliation he took for underestimating his opponent.
Очень свежо выглядит, видно, функционально готов, сильно дергает, раскачивает его.
Bivol, for some reason, was more violent than he had usually been. He was moving forward without hesitation and without stopping.
Очень плотно Дмитрий Бивол попал, очень плотно. Еще раз попадает справа.
The Dominican was lost. Apparently, that Russian wall was bigger than he thought.
Может нанести его из такой позиции, из которой вроде бы...
The first knockdown came and Valera's face was reflecting pain and anguish.
С моей позиции, честно говоря, не ног.
Bivol would not stop. He would continue that aggressiveness and even increase it. He was a complete demon.
В сторону болтается доминиканца, стоит.
After 12 rounds, Bivol would have his hand raised. He wanted to practically humiliate his opponents. In 2017, Bivol would make his first interim world title defense against New Zealand opponent Robert Barrage, with a record that would not shake the Russian at all. The best fights for Bivol were on the way, so he would have to practically humiliate his opponents, and this fight was no exception.
Была травмирована рука, он
Петербурге ему тоже созданы, в общем-то, условия. И это было
Зацепил
тогда...
Беридж.
With precise counterpunches, Bivol would deliver a first knockdown.
Заставил. И давит. Продолжает прессинг Бивол.
Like any good hunter, he would go looking to knock out his opponent fast.
Беридж проваливается.
Держится на морально-волевых.
Да, то есть руки разлетаются.
Robert couldn't do anything to stop this infernal avalanche and would go to the canvas for the second time. Already a third fall was enough to realize that this fight was being a massacre.
Он ждет эти удары. То левая, то правая у головы, сбоку. Все время защита.
The volume of punches was a key in all this. Bivol's graceful movement didn't make him an easy target, and his next opponent would notice it too.
Мы с этой победой его поздравляем, ждем.
From the moment he arrived in the United States, his career would begin to flourish in the country of the stars and stripes.
6, 7, 8. You okay? You all right? Спасибо, кто болел за меня, переживал.
Bivol would arrive in Las Vegas for the first time, facing an American with a different school of boxing from the Russian. Here's a little spoiler. This opponent would come out almost literally in tears after what Bivol did to him.
But how good is Bivol?
We're gonna find out.
Not giving too much away.
But pressuring intelligently. Eastern Europe in general.
Попал справа, попал. Дима с правой, загулял Агню.
Покачнула Седрика Агнью и тут же идет добивать и падает Седрик.
The Russian would put pressure from the start without any respect. He looked totally superior. More physical strength, more power, more agility. He had it all to tear this opponent apart.
Известный блок Ферата Арслана в деле. Кения, напряженный поединок, и мы знаем, Седрик может ответить в любую секунду.
Поджал в угол, он начинает просто расстреливать своими ударами. Сталкивает соперника, убежать в другой угол. И просто работает как по тренировочному мешку.
Да, и
And after 4 rounds, Cedric Agnew felt the pain and his expressions marked that he wanted to give up. Bivol had colonized a new continent, and this would go on to become even more bizarre. An example of this was the one-punch knockout with which he became world champion for the first time against Australian Broadhurst.
As the judge of distance. Oh, and a beautiful right hand.
With this victory, he would win his World Boxing Association world title. His next opponent would be tough, and he would have to make his first title defense. Sullivan Barrera was a Cuban boxer with excellent boxing skills, who only had one defeat that was against Andre Ward. In this occasion, Bivol had to defend his world title against an opponent with similar skills, or that's what everyone thought.
Doesn't mean there aren't things your opponent can do with timing.
Max, as we get ready for...
He lands both shots. He lands the left hand. He lands the straight right hand. Another left hook that wobbles.
Bivol's relentless pressure didn't let the Cuban think. He was so fast that he was controlling the fight how he wanted. Bivol was connecting almost every punch, attacking the body and tearing down the soft areas.
By the way, even if you're thinking, well, yeah, but Barrera's done his damage. Bivol,
Time was running out, and he had to knock him out.
champions, we have to get our amateur.
In round 12, Bivol ended this fight once and for all. The precision of a sniper and sledgehammer-like punches marked the success of this Asian boxer, but the best was yet to come. Tough tests were still to come, and this was only the beginning of an extraordinary career. This Russian had already proven that his success in the United States was earned, but it was not enough to bring out the best in him. Each of his opponents had been run over like a train in front of a chick. Jean-Pascal, a Canadian, would bring out the best version of Bivol, but first he would provoke him.
Ladies and gentlemen, this our main event tomorrow night, live on HBO World Championship Boxing, 12 rounds scheduled.
This encounter would awaken a ferocity in Bivol like never before. And Pascal would pay each of the consequences of underestimating a beast that on the outside doesn't look like one. But when you get in the ring, he transforms himself. Pascal had a 33-5 record, and he was a fighter with a bigger physique than Bivol. But my God, Bivol shut his mouth and made him pay with the rod of pain. Just listen to the power which Bivol's hit Pascal's body. Besides, his aggressiveness, as I said before, was even greater than usual. The Canadian had a better physique, but in boxing you don't need that. You need skill, and Dmitry would prove it. In moments of frustration, Pascal would even lose his mind trying magic punches. Bivol would beat the soul out of this opponent. After 12 rounds, Bivol would win every single round. With this victory, his level of opposition would increase, as it did when he took on the Dominican Gilbert Castillo, or as when he gave a great storm to one of the best 175-pounders of the moment in 12 rounds. But nothing like when he faced the best pound-for-pound of the moment, Canelo Alvarez. Everyone thought that Bivol was a tender chick that the Mexican would tear apart like a lump, but the result was literally, totally, and completely different.
Most of people think about him like he's untouchable, or he's unstoppable, or he has enough power to beat super heavyweights. Sometimes it's fine.
So on May 7th, they faced each other. They were disputing the World Boxing Association 175-pound title. And Canelo wanted that belt after unifying 168 pounds, but didn't know the magnitude of the trouble he had gotten himself into. Canelo in the first 2 rounds was going forward, mainly trying to neutralize Bivol's left arm to immobilize him as he did previously with Kovalev. But Bivol would deploy his arsenal and would not allow himself to be disrespected as other opponents of the Mexican did before.
Excellent round. And that's why Bivol's going to be such a... He's tapping him, trying to find the range, trying to see what punches he can land comfortably. And this is what Bivol...
Well, that's not good.
Power behind him, they're still having an effect. He's going to have a harder time doing it with...
Bivol was stronger, more powerful in his punches, more agile, and had more resistance. In everything, he was superior.
There's that right hand to the body.
Canelo was waking up at times, but when he tried to wake up, the Russian was always there to shut him down.
Right hooks, overhand rights being landed by Canelo. Oh, look at it. It's that right hand right there.
Look at him go. He's winning the fight. Canelo's not landing anything clean.
The Russian's volume of punches was far superior than Canelo's. There was nothing the Mexican could do. Let's remember that Canelo had not lost since the Mayweather fight. And if Bivol won, it would be a worldwide scandal. It was round 12, and the only thing that could save the Mexican was a knockout.
Dos golpes y mueve la cintura. Está más pesado que tú, ya no lo puedes bloquear. Ok, agarra aire. 3 putos minutos, ando bien, cabrón.
Great combinations, but he's stopping Canelo from throwing. So Canelo doesn't have an outlet.
Alvarez's frustration made him do ridiculous things.
Yeah, he's frustrated. In Canelo's body language, right here you see him trying to load out.
And this would make the Russian win with in stunning fashion, leaving everyone in disbelief at what they saw. Little did they know that this Bivol guy was an absolute beast.
Bivol, you're next.
Lefty Ramirez, a Mexican ranked at 175 pounds, had been calling out Bivol arrogantly.
No, I don't think it will be a close fight. No, yeah. I'm the best light heavyweight, and I want to prove myself. I want to prove everyone that I am.
But Ramirez didn't know who he was calling out, and what he did would be the ruin of his own career.
Really piling forward, trying to attack
that last round. Smart progression going into the fifth. Bivol, here's that good solid defense from Bivol, and that's counter-punching. Oh, he's still a little gun shy though, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's struggling with the reach of
We're seeing in this fight from the previous 5 fights, which is what happened. Round 5, we're scheduled for 12. You're right about the absence of body shots in this fight as we get to that third of the way through. Of his punches are body shots.
With ease, the Russian would go on to win the 12th round fight and shut the mouths of his opponent and the world. Dmitry Bivol went on to win as the 175-pound king. To this day, he is undefeated with 23 wins and 12 knockouts. But the Artur Beterbiev fight is on the horizon, and we will see if this other Russian fighter can face Bivol. So much for our episode. We thank you for tuning in until the end. See you soon. This was Boxing Saga.